PR Connections Radio presents.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Uncle Dan with the ultimate expert in crypto, my partner, Bret Jenny, over there. We are here for our semi-weekly show, not every other week show that we do. And our goal here is to educate you about the basics of crypto and what's going on in the marketplace, what's happening, what you need to do, what you don't need to do. And just really have a really good time, and just kind of learn a little bit because it's getting more and more in the news. It's getting more mainstream. And before I forget, I just want you to understand that we are in no way endorsing any particular crypto. We are in no way telling you to go out and buy crypto, trade crypto. This is strictly an education and entertainment platform that's here really to educate the public about everything in the crypto world, mostly things that you don't know about. But I tell you, I bet if anybody knows, my partner Bret Jenny knows over there. So take it away, Bret.
Dan, the only coin we're here to push is the crypto and cash coin. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So people don't realize that you can start your own coin in like 10 minutes. You know? So, and in fact, people will do that is as long as you can supply some liquidity obviously you can't trade a coin if there's no liquidity to trade. Right. But that's all market makers are.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the stock market or it's in the crypto market, is market makers basically supply the liquidity and they take their profit in between the trades. But yeah, so but that's kind of the difference between the title of this podcast, which is the different narratives of Bitcoin, for today's episode. So at the end of the day, the only truly decentralized cryptocurrency out there is Bitcoin in my mind. There's arguments for a lot of other ones, and a lot of other ones, the blockchains are facilitated and run in a decentralized manner. But when I say decentralized, I mean Bitcoin is the only coin out there where there is no CEO. There is no company, right? So if you were the government and you wanted to shut it down, the only way you could shut it down would be to shut off the entire internet. And as long as one computer was working in the world with the internet, then you would be able to still facilitate, or you'd be able to keep the blockchain going. So that's what's kind of great about it, which is you can't shut it down. It truly is decentralized. So a lot of the other ones, they all have CEOs behind them, or the blockchains were created by teams or somebody or whatever it is. So even though it's being facilitated, the transfer of value or the transfer of the data that blockchain is facilitating, even though that is being done in a decentralized way, by that I mean there is no middleman. Right? I always go back to like buying a house and the title company. So you facilitate a title history and facilitate the entire real estate transaction via a blockchain, which means there are people who are attached to that blockchain with their computers that are verifying that information, that are allowing the blockchain to facilitate. So it's decentralized because the middleman or a centralized middleman is not there.
Right.
But the entities of the end power behind that, whereas if the government wants to come and implement a new tax, or they want to say that you're supposed to be with commodities versus a security or whatever it is, all of them, for the most part, have somebody or some group that they can come after for that.
And you know what? They will come after you too. And I'm talking about
what's good about things is you're starting to see kind of the whole bad actor and the whole negative narrative of crypto being flushed out and wrapping itself up, which is what it needed to be. Yeah. I mean, any adaptation to me comes in phases. It doesn't go from 0 to 100 overnight. First of all, people wouldn't be able to handle Like, humans, the way we're built, we need things. We need things to be implemented slowly. It's the same thing with government programs. You learn in your politics class in college, which is anything that's implemented needs to be done on small scale, because if you just throw it in there, people can't handle it. So each phase that Bitcoin's had, and this last phase was bringing in institutional money, which are the big dogs, the JP Morgans, the billionaires, the institutions, the hedge funds, all these different things. So that happened so quickly that if you really know what you're doing, it's like anything, Dan, right? If you know what you're doing in any industry, you can really mess things up or like do things if you really know what you're doing, like a mad scientist, right? There's a mad scientist in every industry, and that's why there's laws in place for those people. But regardless, those people are allowed to kind of get away with that thing until they kind of get flushed out and things come full circle, which the point of what I'm saying is they have. Things have basically come full circle. Now you're starting to see the government start to adopt some sort of regulation. This is a security, this is a commodity, and starting to have the definitions. So that's what we need. And once you have that, and hence starting to have a Bitcoin spot ETF from BlackRock or Fidelity, those are the institutions.
Hey, Brett, would you explain to the people what an ETF is?
That's an equitable traded fund.
Okay.
So that basically means that you have to own, the difference, why it's good for Bitcoin is that means that BlackRock has to actually buy the Bitcoin first, right? So if someone places orders or places a trade to buy the ETF from BlackRock, they have to actually go and physically buy the Bitcoin.
Right.
The way that it kind of works on a lot of crypto exchanges right now is that it's an IOU, right? So you're basically going to the exchange and saying, exchange, buy this amount of Bitcoin for me. But they buy their Bitcoin in batches. So they don't necessarily have that Bitcoin, right? So when you're cashing it out or you're trading it or cashing it out, whatever you're doing, they're basically cashing out your IOU. But at the end of the day, it's not something physical that you own. That's why they always say in crypto, not your keys, not your wallet, right? So if you have your crypto on an exchange, you don't actually have control or access or even really own Bitcoin. You own an IOU. And they're honoring the IOU. That's the difference between having Bitcoin stored on a hard wallet, on a cold wallet. On a cold wallet, it's detached from the internet. Here's what one looks like right here. That's what one looks like. You just plug it in right here like this. Turn it on, plug it in.
What's the name of yours again?
I have a Ledger.
Oh, you have a Ledger.
Ledger, yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's all it looks like. It's like a thumbnail drive. That's it. Right?
Yeah.
But this thing I can take with me anywhere in the world, or I don't even need to, I can eventually access it online whenever I want to, but I only have the password and I only have the code to it. So I own this.
Yeah.
Whatever the crypto's on here, I actually own. But when I put it on an exchange, I don't actually own it. So a Bitcoin ETF for BlackRock essentially means they have to buy it versus just a bunch of IOUs or betting for it, or betting against it, but not actually owning it or borrowing it. They have to actually own it. By them having to actually own it, as the orders come in, they have to physically buy the Bitcoin. So that's more Bitcoin being bought physically.
Yep.
There's a huge difference between it, having to own it, and just bet against it or for it, IOUs.
Sort of like you guys, FYI, remember when was it FTX when they fail because they don't actually own the crypto. Again, if everybody says I want my crypto at one time, get out of the way. Might not be too good. And, from what I see, it's just, so again, you guys, we're just trying to give you information that you need to be aware of if you're relatively new to crypto. You need to do your due diligence on every coin that you buy. What type of technology is behind that particular coin. But even before you get there, you need to understand, on an exchange, how do you buy it? How do you sell it? Bret has given you great information on an ETF. Again, there's wallets as well. There's some people that just store it on a wallet versus an exchange. And what's your opinion of, Bret, as some people I know that they're like, oh, I'm fine. I store my crypto on a wallet. I'm not worried about the exchange going down. What's your opinion of that?
I mean, it depends on what wallet.
Right.
So,
okay.
I mean, you can have like a MetaMask.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But a MetaMask is an online wallet.
Right.
So someone can hack it in a sense of they can send you a spam link, and you click on the spam link, and you are basically tricked into connecting your wallet by giving them access through that link. So you ultimately undo yourself by getting hacked because they're tricking you into it. Like you're the one that's allowing them, right? It's not like they just send you something and it penetrates your computer. Like you have to make the mistake to allow them to do that. They trick you into that. However, that can be done online, but that's the only way it can be done, but it can be done online that way. If you're in a cold wallet like this, that's never going to happen because I'm not ever giving anybody my password, or I'm not giving anybody access, right? It's a lot easier for me to give someone access to something I have online by already being online and going click, 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 versus I've got to plug this in, and now I've got to type in my password, and now I've got to transfer it over here. And you see what I'm saying? They don't have access like that. So, that's the thing, which is you can have, as long as you have your password, they call it in crypto a secret seed. As long as you have your password, which usually consists of 12 words, 12 random words. And you write it down somewhere, obviously. Here's the thing. There was this couple in New York City that hacked an exchange about 6 years ago. And once you hack an exchange and the government can start keeping track of where that money, that crypto that you hacked is going, they can literally see it on the blockchain. Yep. So this couple was smart, and they ended up hacking like $50 million worth, but they never spent any of it. They just let it sit there, right? And 6 years later, the couple ended up spending like $120 of it, or transferred like $120 of it out of it 6 years later. But the government will sit there and watch you every single day, year after year after year after year after year after year, until you make that one fatal mistake of transferring just a little bit of it, which they did. And so from that, they were able to trace that down to an ID, a URL. From that, they were able to chase that down to where it transferred finally to a company, get behind that company, find out the email behind it, and then able to get a court order to hack that person's email. On that email is where they had stored their secret seed and their password.
Oh my God.
So by the government, but regardless, at one point or another, they put something to be able to find out online. They only put it on their email, but the government was able to trace a little bit, enough to get a court order to go to their email, hack their email, and then search through their email and find the password. Then they went on through their crypto wallet with their own password and took the funds back.
Wow. Was it the funds, were they gained illegally or something when they were
hacked from a crypto site?
Oh, they hacked the cryptos. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying is once they hacked it, the exchange let the authorities know. The authorities weren't able to catch it initially because it already happened, but once it happened, they were able to track it on blockchain, and they were able to where the funds went to.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who hacked it were smart because they knew that you could be tracked, right? So they knew all the authorities had to do was track where one wall went to the other and just keep on tracking it. So they didn't do anything. They let it sit there for 6 years and never touched it. But the authorities were literally sitting there watching it every single day, day after day after day after day, until one day they took out like $2,000 or something like that for whatever, and they were able to trace it from there and then find basically an ID from there, get an email from there, get a court order to the email, hack into their email, and then they had stored on the email, on their own email, they had stored their password into where the stolen crypto was.
Crime don't pay. My God.
I'm telling you, man, the government wants you, dude. They've got, that's literally probably one person's job was to sit there for 10 hours a day, man, and just watch.
I know, just watch the computer, huh?
I'm just saying, like, that's what people don't understand. So people are like, oh, they can hack Bitcoin. No, they can't.
Right.
But they can hack access points. So if you have your Bitcoin online in any shape or form, they can find access points to penetrate you, to get that. Right. If you don't have it online or you have it in a cold wallet, they can't, period. Right. You know? But, I mean, the good news is the only time the government's ever going to do something like that, at least at this point, is if you've done something pretty naughty, right? Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
They've got a reason to be wanting to check you and come after you. So don't do illegal things and you'll be fine.
But you know what? It's interesting. We start, that's like fraud. So I got an email today from, I don't know if you have an Uphold wallet or not, but it's, okay, it says, beware of Uphold websites that aim to steal your login credentials.
Yeah.
This is for everyone that is watching our show today, because you got to be very careful, especially if you don't know what you're doing. It says, don't rely on search engines to find Uphold. So what that means is don't just go Google Uphold. Scammers may be advertising to place deceptive links at the top of search results. I know somebody that happened to. They just Googled it.
That's how they get you. That's how they trick you into it.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they don't
enter uphold.com in your browser.
They still don't know your password to get into your wallet. They just know that they sent you a link that you gave them access to through that link. Does that make sense?
That's right.
It's like I send you, I click on a link that gives you direct access to my bank account. You still don't know what my password is, but you don't really care at this point because you have access to
it. Wow. Man, it's scary out there, man. Especially if you're brand new.
Crypto, the good news about crypto is that you are your own bank. So you don't have to worry about anybody messing with your money or whatever it is. But the bad news about crypto is you are your own bank.
Yep.
So if something happens like that, or you send it to the wrong address, SOL, man. it's
gone. Ooh, it's gone. So just a little tip for our audience. If you're going to send crypto from, say, your exchange or your wallet to someone else, or to, say you want to go cash out on, say, a Coinbase or whatever, test it first. Don't send everything at one time. Just send like $100.
That's a great suggestion. Send like if you're gonna send like $500, or I would do like $2, $3.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to make sure it went through, And another thing is, we're still early in all this. So, I think someday they're gonna have insurance that can be attached with this, or some sort of default where if you do this, I mean, at the end of the day, I understand we all assume our own risk. Don't get me wrong, but it's still not right that like you could lose like $50,000 because you sent it to a wrong damn URL. Like, I mean, that I understand making mistakes, but like you shouldn't be punished that much, So I think that sooner or later they'll have things in place, some sort of insurance or something where,
But maybe hopefully that will be part of the regulations when they do come in with regulations.
Yeah, they'll have to have something. And I mean, that's the only thing. Like, you're not going to have people with serious money I mean, even people with like 250,000 and more, or in the millions, they're not going to be wanting to stick it into something that doesn't have some sort of precautions or safety.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you're a bank, and you know how everything is guaranteed up to 250,000? Mm-hmm. If the bank is actually involved in crypto in a couple of years, you think they're going to want to just say that guy made a mistake and I got to pay for it? They're going to come up with something. Absolutely, they will.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a need for it.
Yeah,
I mean, solve a problem with a need, and you make money.
Absolutely, man. Just like the guys in the gold mining days, it wasn't the guys that found the gold. It was the guys that had all the supplies.
Sold the picks and shovels.
All the mining. That's what they made. Levi's. He was one of them. Levi jeans.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Absolutely. There, exact. A perfect example.
He's a merchant.
Yes. So anyway, I'm just seeing a lot of stuff with the banking industry. Did you notice that a few banks got downgraded recently?
No, I haven't.
I saw something the other day, and I kind of breezed through it a little, very briefly. But they're the doom and gloom people that are on the big day that they're talking about is September 20th. They say that, and let me tell you, and I don't particularly believe it, but these are so-called experts. They say that Biden is going to announce that they're going to buy back all of our dollars. And I'm like, why would you
buy back dollars?
All of our paper dollars. Yeah, September 20th. And I'm like, you know what? The man does want to get elected. Come on now. If you did that, he would be, man, they throw him out so fast.
Here's the thing. I hear all these people be like, the CBDC is going to wreck us, which I agree, but they're like, hold on to your cash and have this huge fight for your cash. That's why you shouldn't do Bitcoin, because of cash. Listen, man, cash is only good if other people recognize it.
That's right.
Right? It's like Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin worth something? Because people give it value. That's why.
That's right. That's
Plain
right.
and simple. So if nobody's accepting cash or giving cash value, and they're only going to accept it digitally,
what's it going to be worth?
Then it doesn't matter if you want to keep cash all you want. It's like when the same argument people make with me online all the time when I post my Bitcoin videos. They talk about, oh, well, if the power grid shut off, they're going to go back to gold and this and that. I'm like, first of all, like we're going from like how it's used today to zombie apocalypse,
right?
Where all the grid systems are shut off, But and I said that's still contingent on people still moving forward with accepting gold as something. And most people don't own gold; they own a certificate, or they own a stock, or some sort of form that says they own it, but they don't physically own it. You know where most gold's at? In a vault, in a basement. That's where like 90% of the gold's at. So you have gold, buy gold, but you don't physically own gold. You have a piece of paper that's not going to be recognized by anybody if the shit hits the fan.
Exactly.
And the only thing that is going to matter to me are bullets, guns, shelter, and food.
You know what? I totally agree with you.
You can get anything you want with those four.
I totally agree.
Bullets and guns, you get everything else you need. I mean, that's what the world's. I mean, if we're going down to like back that kind of age.
Yep, that's right.
So it's
gonna be nutty, man. It's just gonna be nutty. I'm just so curious to see what it's gonna be like in like 5 years. Man.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, things can happen rather quickly sometimes, right? You ever notice there's like some stale years in between? And then also you can have like, I would say 2020 through 2023, and 2022.
Right.
Like 2010 to 2020 is like, okay, things happen, but and then in those 2 years, 2020, 2022, so who knows?
Who knows, man? A lot of these so-called experts are talking about the the crypto winter's over, and soon by Christmas time, Bitcoin is going to be going through the roof. Ethereum's going through the roof. But you know what? Who really knows, Brett? Nobody really knows. If they did, they would be mega millionaires. They just nobody knows, you guys. So you
go ahead.
Right.
No, I mean we're so.
All right. All I do, you guys.
Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but I was going to say, don't all the stuff we're telling you about, we still suggest that you get involved with crypto. We just don't want you to make any mistakes. So we want everybody here, because we are crypto enthusiasts big time, because we know what's going on with the government, how they're printing money. So we want you to get involved, but we want you to do it safely. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I just want to say this quick too, because this is something, Dan, that you and I just automatically assume, but I get questions on this a lot of time. You can buy $5 worth of Bitcoin. Like you don't. People say, "Oh, how much is the full?" I don't have enough to buy a Bitcoin. You don't need to. You can literally buy $5 worth of Bitcoin. You can buy $2 of Bitcoin. You can buy $100 of Bitcoin. You can buy $20,000, whatever you want to do. One full Bitcoin is around $29,000 right now, but it's divided up into 100 million Satoshis. So it's basically divided up into 100 million parts. So you can literally buy $10, $15, $20 worth of Bitcoin if you want.
Yeah, get your feet wet. I mean, come on.
That's what's great about the stock. You can't buy 3/5 of an average stock. You can with $20.
I just had lunch. It cost me $20. So I mean, come on, give it a shot. Give it a shot.
$20,
Yeah, exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming near the end of our show, and we want to thank you for tuning in this week. Bret and I are actively going to be at a convention. It's a tech crypto convention. It's called Breathe, BREATHE. Check it out. We might be able to get you some discounted tickets on that event. It's coming up September 13th and 14th. So, Bret, I'll probably see you on Wednesday night, I think. I got an email, and so I'll see you over there, and we can continue this discussion offline.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today, and we will catch you in 2 weeks. Welcome again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.